right, let's get started. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm in my seat right now. Appreciate you all being here. We have a guest that I've been trying to get for about 2 years. When we first started talking about her speaking here, it finally prevailed. She not only comes with an awesome message, she comes with an entourage, and someone who will do an introduction for her. It's her husband, Will Taylor. Will Taylor is an adjunct professor here. He teaches small business management. He's an outstanding entrepreneur, and we're glad to have him here. So I will just yield the floor to Will.
Cool. So I'm excited to introduce who I think is the coolest person in the world. And by the end of this, I think you guys will agree. But what's really cool is how many people in here, just quick raise your hands, want to at some point own their own business, do an entrepreneurial venture, right? That's why we're here. How many people, just quick raise your hands, are kind of nervous or scared for some aspect of what that means? Same raise of hands, right? What's really cool is we kind of left the corporate world together about 4.5 years ago, and we bought a gym here locally in town, which has become the foundation for what we have now and what we continue to build. And when we bought that gym, Rawls was pretty vocal about, I will train and I will work out, but don't ask me to do sales, don't ask me to run it, don't ask me to do anything, just let me come in and train and coach people. And in that time, in the last 4 years, she's completely left all of that behind. And in the last year, which she'll tell you her story, has started Built by Raleigh, which has grown into Pact, and going from, I don't want to do sales, to selling a 6-figure business that next year will surpass $1 million in revenue, and doing that basically entirely by herself, growing a team of just working by herself through Instagram of a team of 7 now, and truly becoming the CEO of Pact and what we have, and running the operations and everything that we have behind it, to the point that we're actually sold one of our gyms in St. George. We'll be shutting our brick and mortar gym here in Cedar down in about 2 weeks, and going all in on what she has built. So from truly the journey of the entrepreneurial journey of going from I don't know what I want to be, I'm scared to do it, to doing it, putting the operations in place, building a team and building a business that can truly stand on its own and grow and empower lives, she is your person. So without that, here she is.
Is that on? Thanks, Will. Everyone needs a hype man, don't you think? He's a good one. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to jump right into it if that's cool with you. But I just want you to know I'm completely terrified. I have overcome many of my limiting beliefs, and public speaking is not one of them. So I'm completely terrified, and if I'm shaking, if I'm ruining this stuff, just roll with it, laugh with me. I don't know if you guys have ever had some of those anxiety dreams where you can't catch up, or you're falling, or you go to school and you don't have pants on, or all these crazy dreams. Has anyone ever had those before? Yeah, mine always includes public speaking, without fail. And it's usually people, I'm trying to get a message across and nobody is listening. So that's my biggest fear today. So if you could just give me some solid eye contact, some smiles behind your mask, smile with your eyes, nod at me every once in a while so I don't feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. That'd be awesome. Are you guys cool with that? Okay, sweet. But first, I would love to get to know you. Who in here is married? Anyone? Sweet, more than I thought, actually. Anyone have kids? Nice. Awesome. A little less. Very cool. Any animal lovers out there? Sweet. What kind of animals do you guys like?
Dogs.
Dogs?
Horses.
Horses? Anyone? Sweet. I'm a huge animal lover. Anyone from Utah? Oof. Sorry. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I've been here for 10 years. I love Utah. Anyone from other places? Cool. Where are you from?
Nevada.
Awesome.
Illinois.
Cool.
California.
California. Anyone else? Anyone from Colorado? Sweet. What part?
Canyon City, Colorado. You know where that is?
I don't know where that is.
It's 45 minutes from Colorado Springs.
Okay, got it. I'm from the Denver area. Very cool. Anyone like a good thrill? Roller coasters, scary movies, cliff jumping? Yeah? Sweet. My kind of people. I like that too. I include public speaking as one of those things. Or I'm going to. Any college athletes? Sweet. Me too. Will and I. Anyone like to work out? Cool. That's good. We do too. Anyone have a current health or fitness goal? Yeah? Anyone willing to share? Yeah?
I'm getting ready to run a 50K with friends, and I haven't run in 3 years.
For real?
For real.
Man, good luck. I'm running a sprint triathlon, so it's like a 5K, not 50. That's awesome. Anyone else? Fitness goals? Health goals? Life goals? I saw some other hands up here. What about you in the back with the hat? Yeah?
Oh, okay. We just ran like our fitness test for softball today, and I was in like there's 3 groups. I was in the second group, so next year I want to be in the first group, so I have a shorter time to get faster.
Love it. Shorter, faster, stronger. Love that. Anyone? Well, Will already asked that question. I was about to nudge him and be like, dude, you're taking over my thing. Who has a business idea? Yeah? You guys have business ideas? Anyone have an operating business right now? Cool. So you guys have bought an LLC? Or you have an LLC set up? Very nice. Anyone want to share what their operating business is right now? I'm just purely curious.
In the back, right?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll share again. Right now I run a very sustainable rework business called Mug Tub. You guys won't look at it. Can't like self-promote, but I take things from like thrift stores and I just put them into something cooler or more unique items that you might get anywhere else.
Awesome. Very cool. And what about you in the back?
So I have a nonprofit organization. We take troubled teens and troubled youth. We teach them how to be entrepreneurs. Not only that, we teach them how to pretty much train service animals or service dogs specifically, and we give them to veterans. So that's what it is.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That hits home for us. Will worked with troubled youth as well, and we love dogs. And our dog just got trained. So I'm like, all of that I love. Very cool. Okay, so I figured over the next, I guess, 20 minutes or so, I just tell you about me, my business, what it is right now, and then kind of walk you through my entrepreneurial journey. And then we'll do a Q&A at the end. You guys kind of know how it goes. But does that sound good to you guys? Awesome. I have cotton mouth for real. Like, oh my gosh. Okay. This kind of helps actually, the mask. Like, helps with the, yeah, anyway. Okay. So a little bit about me. I have 2 little kids, William and Lydia. They're actually both in school right now, which is a different phase of life for me, but Lydia is 3, William is 5. I love my kids, love my family. Like I said, pretty good hype man over there. And by the way, I am a crier, so you probably will see tears. I love lifting. 50K, probably not my kind of thing. I'll run because it's exercise, but like I love lifting. Give me a barbell. Animals, like I said, we have 2 cats, 2 dogs, 2 kids. We call it our Taylor Zoo. We're always trying to grow it. We love animals. I love any outdoor activities, doing scary things. That's me up at Zion on Observation Point. Anyone been there? I did a handstand on the edge. That was scary. And yeah, mountain biking. I don't really love like a hike, just a boring hike, but if there's water or some sort of destination, I'm cool with it. Other things I love are rom-coms, Baby Mama, probably up there. Taylor Swift, I love musicals, Hamilton. Anyone love Hamilton? Shopping, I love the nightlife, city life. My life now does not look like that. 2 little kids and owning my own business. I go to sleep at like 9 o'clock. But my natural Raleigh really loves the nightlife. Water, sun, summer, cookies over candy any day. I love business, self-help books, traveling, and I love being alone. I'm an introvert, so I like people. I help a lot of people, but I definitely need my alone time and time to kind of recoup. Things I like less, I try not to say hate. Hate's a strong word, but things I like less are public speaking, as we know. Cardio, Harry Potter, Marvel. Any fans out there of those? I know there's a lot of them, but it's just not me. Ice cream, yeah. I'll eat ice cream, it's good, but like I'm not gonna choose it. fictional books. Winter, I am from Colorado. I love like outdoor sports, but I just don't like being cold. And cooking. You won't find me in the kitchen unless I have to be. The funny thing is, after I wrote this, I was like, oh my gosh, this describes Will. Like, put Will's face right there. This is Will. Like, he loves all those things. He hates all the things I just said before that. Opposites attract, I guess. Okay, so my business is PACT, like we said, stands for Personalized Accountability, Coaching, and Transformations. At PACT, we help empower busy people who are tired of trying everything. I always get emotional when we say this because I'm so passionate about it. People that are tired of trying everything, but are motivated to find that thing that sticks. We give you the tools, excuse me, to confidently make lasting and sustainable change through personalized accountability, coaching, and coaching. Our mission is to empower and transform the way every client looks, acts, feels, and lives. Our clientele, they're usually people who are busy. Like, they're not people who have hours and hours to spend at the gym. They're between the ages of 20 and even 50 years old. They usually have families, just a lot going on. They have low confidence, low energy, but they really like to exercise. Generally, the people come to us, they're like, I like to exercise, I do it, but I'm just not seeing the results that I want. I lack energy. They usually struggle with like the all or nothing mentality. You guys heard of that before? Just like either going all in 100% and being perfect or not doing anything at all. They've tried every diet in the book. They like a plan. They want to stick to a plan. And they really, really have a desire to learn and grow and be better. Some of these things also relate to entrepreneurs. Does anyone have a desire to learn and grow and be better? Yeah. So a lot of the things that we teach our fitness and health clients also relates to things that I'm going through as an entrepreneur, which is pretty cool. We have core values. We have 5 core values at PACT. Not only at PACT, but also in our family. These are what Will and I, they're our truths. They're what we believe in. It's why we are successful. It's why we've gotten to where we are because of these things. And we teach them to our clients in hopes that they can adopt 1 or 2 of them into their life in order to be successful. So those are show up. So number 1 thing is to show up. A lot of good things happen in life when you just come to class, when you just go through the motions. If you're like Will, he was an athlete in high school, and then once he got to college, he saw this flyer for the BYU rugby team, and so he just decided to show up to the tryouts. Ended up making the team, 4-time national championship winner, right? So just show up, good things can happen. Progress over perfection, I know that sounds very cliche, but really, I'm a perfectionist at heart. And that's not in a good way. That's me. Sorry, you guys. Progress over perfection. Yeah, like I've just had to overcome a lot of my perfectionist tendencies and have to really understand that progress is progress is progress. And so we really try to teach that to our clients. Face your fears. Doing it right now. But if you can face your fears, do something outside your comfort zone, also good things can come. Do the boring work. This is probably my favorite core value out of all of them. I think as entrepreneurs, we tend to be like ADHD, and we're like, oh, shiny object. Oh, maybe I should do this. Oh, maybe I should do this. So I really believe in this one. Once I just put my head down, got to work, did the boring things over and over, that's when I saw success. Same thing goes with health and fitness, right? Like you find the next diet, you find the next thing that, macros that worked for somebody, keto worked for somebody. I'm going to try all these different things. But if you can really just stick to habits and just exercise and eat well consistently, big things can happen. And then the last one is empower lives. Will and I's mission and life goal. Gosh. As you can tell, just really passionate about it, but it's to just empower lives, empower everyone that we come in contact with, whether it's you guys here. I hope that I can empower one of you today to just take that leap, to do that thing. empower our people to live healthier, better lives. That's our mission at PACT, and I would encourage you guys to do that too. If you learn a skill, if you conquer something, to empower others and teach them to do the same. I think that's how you make the biggest impact in the world, is by teaching others and giving back. These are some of our clients. There's Will up there. He's got a good transformation. Fun things about PACT. We are coming up on our 1-year anniversary, so we still are a baby company. But like Will said, our entrepreneurial journey started 5 years ago. When we came up with the word PACT, I originally thought of it as like a contract. We had owned our gym, and I was really frustrated at people because I would put in so much energy, so much passion, so much emotion into creating these programs for people, these exercise nutrition programs, and they just wouldn't do it. And I was like, oh, this is so frustrating. And anyways, I was like, okay, maybe if I can make a company that's like a contract, like you're committing to me and I'm committing to you, and we're gonna do this thing together no matter what. So that's what it originally was. Another fun fact, we've helped thousands of people lose over 10,000 pounds of body fat and keep it off. I think that's pretty cool. We are international. We have lots of clients in Canada, some in Mexico. And like Will said, we are going fully remote this year. We're closing down our gym, and we're really excited. So some big milestones coming up for us. So that's a little bit about PACT. But as you know, PACT did not always start out that way. So I'll go into my journey after I get a drink. You guys still with me? Doing okay? All right. All right, cool. My journey starts back when I was born. No, I'm just kidding. I won't take you that far back, but I do think it's valid to just show my parents. They have their good things and bad things about them, but ultimately they helped me with a lot of mindset things. They're both entrepreneurial. My grandpa owned a boys' home. I don't know where that guy went. Anyway, he owned a youth crisis center, one of the first ones in Utah. Turned it over to my dad. My dad was in medical sales, car sales. My mom had her own, hair salon business. So they were always teaching us about money and how money is a tool to get the things that we want in life. From a very little age, I had a monthly budget that would not budge. Like, that was it. That was all the money that I got for anything that I wanted, so I could save it. I learned how to get the most out of it from a very young age. My dad always taught me about buying, selling, negotiating. I remember going to garage sales as just a little girl, and my dad being like, okay, or we'd be on Craigslist. He'd be like, oh my gosh, this is such a good deal. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call this guy, and I'm gonna offer way, way less. And then he's probably gonna say no, and then we're gonna meet somewhere in the middle. So I just have a lot of those memories of negotiating with people. I used to love technology, which is kind of funny now because I have a remote company. But I remember I would post my phone on Craigslist when I was like 12. And I would come to my dad and be like, hey dad, somebody bought my phone. I want the new one. They're gonna come over today. And they still talk about that now, and they're like, remember how you were 12 and you were like buying and selling on Craigslist? That was not safe, but they let me do it anyway. And so yeah, so growing up, like I said, they taught us how to just make the most out of the money that we have, but also that money gets you the things that you desire in life, and that you can go out and get anything. I would want crazy things growing up, like, I don't know, snowboards and guitars and, my first car and stuff, just things that I thought were unrealistic. And then my dad would just help me and figure out a way to be able to buy and sell things in order to get it. But really, my entrepreneurial journey starts in college. I know you guys are like, oh, BYU. Do you guys like BYU? Probably not, I'm guessing. But we went to BYU. We're kind of typical BYU students, but kind of not. We're not from Utah, remember? No. But anyways, I went to BYU, met Will there. He was a rugby player, I was a diver, both in sports. We were each other's hype people, #1 fans. We spent our days going to school, then going to practice, and going to practice again, then going to games. You know how it is being a college athlete. It was so much fun, some of the best times of our life. The way that we got through college was through buying and selling. So we did it with guns, and we did it with scooters mostly. So we'd find a broken down scooter. Everyone drove those in Provo, I don't know about here. But people didn't know why they had broke, and we found out that it was just because the batteries were dead. So we would go buy like a $50 battery, replace it, and then sell it for like $300 to $500. So that's really how we made it through college. And yeah, it was a good old time. I did not know what I wanted to graduate in. I am not necessarily a school person. I was like, okay, I talked to my counselor. I'm like, all right, just give me the easiest degree that will allow me to graduate and keep my GPA high so that I can keep diving, because that's what I wanted to do. So I did psychology, which you can't do anything with psychology. Guys, I'm using psychology every single day, like every day. I'm pretty much a life coach. So I definitely disagree with that. But yeah, so that was college. Immediately after college, we actually walked together, and I found out I was pregnant. So we announced to our family that I was pregnant on graduation day. We were like taking graduation pictures, and I pull out this thing, and we shocked everybody. I knew I wanted to be a mom, so we just went for it. We're like, okay, I think now's the time. We're graduating. Let's start our family. Again, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I liked yoga, and there was a yoga teacher training going on. So I took the next month to get certified in yoga. So I hired a coach or a trainer, and I joined this awesome group, and I became certified in yoga. Learned a lot of really, really awesome things there. But pregnancy was really, really tough. I think there was one person who had kids in here, but if you don't know, pregnancy is not fun, in my opinion. I went from being an athlete, I was in the best shape of my life, to now losing muscle. I was not one of those people that can work out through my whole pregnancy. I was tired, I was exhausted, I was getting like, a lot of pain in my stomach. I had gained, a bunch of weight, 40 pounds during pregnancy. I was bored. Like, I was so used to doing 2-a-day practices and going to school. And now, like, just sitting, we had moved to St. George at this point because Will had gotten a job offer. And I was just like sitting at home, growing this baby, which is amazing. Like, I'm not downplaying that at all, but I was just like, I didn't know what to do with my life. I'm like, okay, I could teach yoga. Maybe I'm just a mom now. Anyways, I didn't know. I didn't know what I was going to do. Was I just going to be a mom? How was I going to get back into shape without a coach? How would I, spend my time? And on top of that, Will is now growing in a different direction. He has this awesome job. He works a lot of long hours. He's gaining a lot of new friends and colleagues. He starts CrossFit at that time. I think it's so rude. Guys do that all the time when their wives are pregnant. They decide to get in shape. I'm like, sweet, I can't do anything. Just kidding. But he joins CrossFit. It's getting really fit. And I'm just like, man, he's like growing. He's learning. Like, what am I doing? My confidence just completely plummeted at that time. I didn't know who I was. I wasn't identified as an athlete anymore. I wasn't identified as anything. But soon enough, William was born, my firstborn. And best day of my life. Like, hardest, greatest thing was birth. I love my son to death. But for me, I felt like I was playing house. And I'm not saying a stay-at-home mom is bad. I'm just saying this is my experience. And for me, I just felt like I was playing house. Will would wake up, he'd go to the gym, go to work. I would wake up with the kid, play with my baby, stare at him all day long, which I loved, but I was still kind of bored. And I just felt like we were playing house. I just remember waiting all day long for him to get home. And he just recently told me, which I didn't know, that he was waiting all day to come home to me. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is not what I thought life was. And I remember some people telling me, that just is how it is, this is life now. And so I'd try to talk myself into it and be like, okay, I just need to stay home and Will just needs to go to work. And I tried to be okay with that for a long time. But I don't know how to describe it other than I just wanted more. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to do more. So around that time, after I had a kid, Will invited me to CrossFit. Yay, winning. So I hired a coach and we joined this CrossFit community. Has anyone done CrossFit before? So you guys kind of know, the community is a big part of it, right? You get to compete. I started feeling like an athlete again. I was starting to get muscle back. My body was changing again. It just really quickly became something that I loved and identified with. And it also became a safe haven because our life started to change. And what we thought was going to be a lifelong thing for Will, his job, it started to look like it wasn't going to happen like that anymore. We started to feel like we wanted more. We wanted to do something, I just keep saying this, but we wanted to do something more with our life, and we wanted to work together. And it became a really, really hard time in life because of Will's job, and also because we were living close to family. And there were some family things happening that ended up being some of the hardest years of my life. And CrossFit really became our safe haven. It was like, it's just what we clung to. And so, like I said, we wanted more, and Will's job was starting to change, and we knew it probably wasn't going to be a long-term thing. And so we're like starting to experiment and think of the things we could do. We're like, okay, well, maybe we should do real estate. Will's job was very, very good. It was so secure. We had great insurance, great income on it. Luckily, we had saved up a lot. So our wheels start spinning. We're like, what should we do? So again, we hired a coach. I think this is our third coach so far that we've hired. I remember Will came home one day, kind of during this time, and we're trying to figure out what to do. And he sits me down. He's like, Raleigh, I want to hire this coach. And I'm like, okay. Like, I know nothing about like coaches or like self-help books, and Will like is starting to get into all of these things. And he's like, I want to hire this coach. He started this book called The Power of Starting Something Stupid. And I just really feel like it'll help me launch something, right? And I'm like, okay, but like, why do you need a coach? I don't get it. Like, I'm a very like do-it-yourself type person, independent to an extreme. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, how much is it? He's like, $2,500 I'm going to pay tomorrow. And I'm like, what? You are joking me. I'm like, what could this guy possibly have or tell you that would be worth that much money? Like, to me, that was just a ton to like pay a person to like talk to. You know what I mean? And so anyways, I'm like, okay, whatever, like leap of faith, let's do it. So he hires him. And it ended up being awesome and kind of cool. Now wrapping around full circle, this guy, Richie Norton, he's actually one of Will's clients right now at PACT. So kind of cool how that comes full circle. But anyway, throughout hiring him, Will comes up with this idea as he's still working in his other job, but we're about to be on our way out. And he's like, let's do this fitness expo. So have you guys heard of FitCon up north? It's a really big fitness expo that happens every year. Like huge, massive. We know the owners, we know how lucrative it is. So we're like, okay, well, we could totally do that in Southern Utah. It's something that doesn't exist down here. There's a lot of active people. Let's do it. So for like the last month of working at Will's job, we decide to go for it. And I'm like, he's talking to his friend, and his friend and him decide like, okay, we're going to sell all the booths. So we need 50 booths, and we need like a CrossFit competition, and we need all these things that happen at an expo. And I'm like listening to him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I can help with this. So I'm at home with my baby. I'm like, okay, I can set up appointments for you guys, and we can go to all these businesses and sell them on booths and tell them how awesome it's going to be, even though we have no idea what we're doing. Like, no idea, you guys. So anyways, I just have these such funny memories of me being on the phone with my baby. I'm feeding my baby while I'm on the phone with these businesses saying, hey, we're doing this Dixie Fitness Expo. We would love to have you guys there. Can we come talk to you? And so I had this big filing cabinet, and I have my little RAV4 that's kind of crappy, and my son's in the back, and I go and I drive and I pick up Will, and I'm like, okay, we're going to go to this place, and Will's going to go in and he's going to sell them on it, and then we're going to see how it goes. Well, we ended up selling almost all of them in like 3 days. And I just remember like, I'm in the passenger seat because I'm navigating. I always navigate. And Will's driving, and I'm like, okay, let's go to this business. And I'm like, okay, here's your sheet of paper. Tell him what the Dixie Fitness Expo is. And he goes in, and he comes out with a check. And I file it, and I'm like, okay, let's go to the next place. Meanwhile, my son's like in the back, and he's crying, and I'm like running through McDonald's, like trying to make him happy through all of it. And it was just such a mess. And also, I'm also pregnant with my second one at this point. So it's like hot in St. George. I'm pregnant in my crappy car with my baby in the back. And Will is selling these packages to these businesses for the Dixie Fitness Expo. It was crazy. And it was so much fun. We worked really, really well together during the Dixie Fitness Expo. So I feel like that was our like first success doing something entrepreneurial. We went for something, we priced it all out, we sold all the booths, and then we put on this Dixie Fitness Expo. But, so the Dixie Fitness Expo was supposed to be from, I think we started at 8 a.m. or something, and it was gonna go to 7 p.m., this all-day event. And the first 2 hours go really well because we have this CrossFit competition going. There's a lot of people, a lot of movement, lots of noise. Well, the CrossFit competition ends and it dies. 10 a.m. and it's dead. Like there's no one there. We didn't know how to market at this point. We didn't know how to get people to our event. So it totally died. But all in all, like I said, this was our first entrepreneurial success. It ended up being really, really fun. But like I said, Will was on his way out. And so at the end of the Dixie Fitness Expo, it actually ended up that night we had to move out of our house. And we were moving to Cedar City because Will was going to get his MBA from SUU. And so we knew we had to move from St. George. We did that. We moved and we come to Cedar City that night. And at this point, we had saved up some money. We didn't really know what we wanted to do. We're like, okay, we'll just wait in Cedar. We'll finish our MBA and then we'll go from there because we have some, cash to kind of live off of. Well, 2 weeks in to being into Cedar, we go to Centro. I'm pregnant, 8 months pregnant, by the way. And I have my little boy. And Will's like, I'm gonna go into that CrossFit gym over there. It's right across the street. I'm like, okay. So he goes in to sign up and comes out and he's like, so that gym's for sale and I wanna buy it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like I thought we were gonna go slow here, what the heck? Anyway, a month later, done deal. Like it happened so fast. It was just meant to be, stars aligned, we bought the business. So for the past 4 years, we have been running CrossFit Cedar City. And it's so awesome. When we first bought it, we had this image and this dream in our head of what this business was gonna be. We're like, oh my gosh, we can work out together. We're gonna bring our kids there. We're gonna teach them how to be active. It's gonna be so cute. We're this family. Like, we just think it's gonna be like this awesome thing that we're in this family business together. It was not that, okay? Like, it was so messy. It was so dirty. You have employees you have to manage. You have people that don't show up to coach. You have 100 plus, members of the gym who want things. We're like, you should do this event and you need to do this. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, it was not that. Hi, AJ, I know you. It was so crazy and so messy, but it was so much fun because we had gone from playing house, not loving what we were doing, to doing something that we loved. So even though it was so hard, it was so messy, my son used to take protein powder and throw it everywhere. And it would be like this big cloud. And oh my gosh, so many stories I could tell you about how messy and ugly and how not fun it was. But ultimately, it was something we wanted to do. We were passionate about it, CrossFit. We were passionate about empowering lives, and we loved it. But, oh yeah, another funny thing is that we weren't even certified when we bought the business. So we operated in the business and coached classes for a solid month before we were actually certified. So we were just winging it. But like I said, there was this moment of fear when we realized we were doing all these things. We were trying to get people in the door. And we were just like, we couldn't catch up. And we had dumped all of our savings into it. And we had nothing to live off of. And, our gym was really great and the community was awesome. But we just felt like we were this hamster wheel that was just spinning. And we couldn't catch up. We weren't making the cash that we wanted. We weren't getting as many people in. And it was really, really hard. We were working ourselves into debt at that point, living off credit cards. But we so badly wanted to be the biggest and the best gym of Southern Utah so that we could empower as many lives as possible. But how would we do it? We were just like spinning this hamster wheel. We couldn't figure it out. And I was terrified. Like Will said, I had terrible confidence in myself. Like put me in front of a class, okay, I'll be fine. But tell me to sell, tell me to, convince somebody into something. No way, I'm terrified. So we hired another coach and we joined a group. And so remember the first time Will comes to me, I want to hire a coach, it's $2,500. This time we're in debt, we're not doing good. And he says, I want to hire this coach and it's $16,000. I laughed. I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. But we did because because Will is a good salesman, apparently. So we hired another coach. In that process, I ended up starting Built by Raleigh. He also helped us make double our money in about 4 weeks. So I was like, okay, that was worth it. He helped us just create a model and really become business and entrepreneurs rather than gym owners. He did a lot of things for us. In that time, we were booming, had so many people in our gym that we couldn't even fit them in our gym anymore. And so we were at capacity, and yet we still wanted to make more. We still wanted to improve. And so we started looking for new locations. Will brings me in to this, the old Main Street movie theater, and he's like, look at this. You guys, it was vandalized, it was trashed, it was ugly, and it was the biggest project I'd ever seen in my life. And I'm like, no, we are not doing this. We're not doing this. And we did it. So we ended up buying the Cedar City movie theater. You guys all know where that is? We bought it about 2 years ago. I'm running out of time now, so I'm sorry, but long story short, things didn't go as planned. We had to work with the city. They told us it was gonna go $500,000 over our budget. Keep in mind, we're in debt, and we've now just bought a building, and we don't have any working capital. There's no way. So anyways, it was a year process of working with the city to figure out how we could get in. We finally get into this building. And with the help of Vivint, does anyone know Vivint? Has anyone done sales before at Vivint? Cool. So Vivint helped us actually get into this building. In return, Will had to work for them for a summer. So we finally get in the building. We work super late hours. It was really a fun project. I got to work with architects and engineers, and we had to build this 6-foot subfloor. So that's like taller than me. That, so that people could walk on it because the old theater was slanted. I don't know why they used to do that, but anyways, it was slanted. We had to build this floor on top of it, and it was awesome. So, but the day that we were opening is also the same day we had to leave for Texas. Weird how this keeps happening to us. I don't know what we're doing. But anyway, so we make this floor. Will literally paints the last strip of paint. He doesn't even shower, and we drive off to Texas for the summer to do some summer sales. But we're like, okay, we're good. Like, we finished the building. We can now open for business. And we're in Texas. My story's almost done, guys. 2 weeks in, we're feeling so good. We're like, we have a bigger building, a business that's going to be successful. We actually know how to market and sell now. That's going to be awesome. 2 weeks in, Will gets a message from our head coach, and he sends a picture, or not our head coach, just a coach, sends a picture to Will of our floor with a giant hole in it that says, the floor is a trampoline. And so Will comes home and he shows me this, and long story short, I lost my mind. I lost my mind, and I completely disengaged from our business. I was done. I was so done because we had been in debt. We hadn't been making it. We're spinning on this hamster wheel, and we just dumped everything that we did. We did it right. We followed the city rules. I'm so frustrated that when I get that text, I'm done. And I completely backed away from the business. And I went into a serious depression, or at least the most depressive state I've ever been in. And this is still pretty fresh for me. This is only about a year ago. And I left Will alone. I said, good luck, because I can't handle this. I was so mean to my kids. I couldn't get out of bed. I remember I would wake up and I'd go to the gym. Luckily, for some reason, I kept working out. I think it was just a habit at that point. And then I'd come home and I'd go to bed. And I had 2 little kids at this point, and I couldn't even take care of them. I remember one day I'm laying in bed, and my little boy, who's 4, comes up to me. He's like, Mom, I'm hungry. I need some pancakes. And I rip myself out of bed, and I go into the kitchen, and I'm just like, and I'm just so frustrated that I have to make these pancakes for this little boy. Crazy, right? He's 4. Why would I be mad at that? I was so depressed and sad, and I went through this crazy grieving process because this dream that we had of being the best in Cedar City was crumbling. Sorry. But during that time, like I said, I ended up getting this job at a local rec center during the summer. I was able to get myself out of bed. And this guy was helping me. My boss at the time, he started to help me to show up. He's like, you have to be here at a certain time for work. You know, you have to do these things. I've never had a full-time job before, but I got this full-time job. And it ended up being a huge blessing, because at a time when all this crap was going on, I could start to get my life in order and get out of this depression I was in. I started to show up. My boss was a coach. I think Mizzou or something. He was a tennis coach. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. He started to coach me through life. He started to help me break limiting beliefs about myself. He taught me how to do the boring work, to show up, to do the same things every day, you know, to work on yourself, things that I hadn't been doing for months because I was so worried about our business and getting the gym taken care of. I started to get into a routine. I faced my fears at that time. I had to hire a nanny, get a full-time job. That's not easy. When you have kids, like, I don't want anyone else watching my kids. But I overcame that, and I got a full-time job. I was able to learn how to do sales. The coolest part is that my boss, he knew I was an entrepreneur, and he's like, you know what, if you get all of your work done here at the summit, which by the way, that job was so easy for me. I was an assistant manager at a gym. I had been owning my gym, so it was very easy. He's like, if you get done with all your work, you can work on your own stuff on the side. And so that's when Built by Raleigh was really born. I ended up growing my business there. I started to get into self-help books, listen to podcasts, get on top of my morning routines, things that I hadn't done in a really long time. These are the 2 books that absolutely changed my life. Highly recommend. I remembered that progress is more important than perfection. And ultimately, that's how PACT is born. Once we got home from Texas, Built by Raleigh was really, really booming. And we merged together. Will and I together, we're always better as a team. And we created PACT. And now we get to empower lives in the greatest way possible. And it's just been such a blessing, all during COVID, while our building is broken and all of those things that I talked about. I don't know if you remember the avatar I talked about, but this was me. My avatar is me. I had low confidence, low energy during that time in Texas. I like to exercise, but I really had that all or nothing mentality. Either our business is gonna work or I'm out, right? I like to have a plan, and I have this huge desire to learn and grow. So our avatar is me. And that's why I cry when I talk about our mission, because I've overcame the things that I have, and I'm so passionate about it, and I wanna help other people in their health and fitness break those beliefs about themselves and become something amazing and incredible. Okay, last things. I'm so over. Sorry, Tyler, I'm going overtime. Some truths that I've learned. Big theme, hire a coach, join a group. If you're struggling with something, hire a coach, join a group. Sure, as entrepreneurs, we can do anything on our own, but it'll go a lot slower and it'll be really frustrating. I know from experience, so hire a coach. Expect obstacles. I think one of the biggest problems is that once we bought our building, I was like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be better. We're never gonna have any obstacles again, because that was the one thing holding me back. What I quickly realized is that there will always be things that come up, and I have to be willing to pivot and change and adapt, because that's business. I never would have expected to have a 6-figure online coaching business. I wanted to have a gym, you know? Totally different. Will mentioned this one and I loved it. The first business you start may not be the one that takes off, but keep going, because it will teach you the skills for the next thing. I learned a bunch of skills throughout owning a gym that's now led to where I am now. It takes years. Keep going. You have to try over and over and over. We're only 5 years in. That's a baby company. We still have a lot of years to go ahead, but you have to be consistent and you have to keep going. Business is sales. If you don't like sales, you got to be okay with it. Business is sales. It's a skill though, and anyone can learn it. Being an entrepreneur provides freedom of schedule. You can do anything you want. We travel every single weekend, but it doesn't allow you freedom from work. It is the hardest thing you will ever do, and I can promise you that. And finally, this is from one of our coaches that we had. He says, business is a game that cannot be won, only played. And that mindset, that shift has really, really changed things for me. I'm never trying to win. I'm never trying to be the greatest and the best, and then it's over. I'm just playing this game. And I get to try this and that and see what works, see what doesn't. And I love that. So whether you decide to start a business or not, I'd encourage you guys to show up in life. Face your fears. Remember that progress is more important than perfection. Do the boring work every day. I know it's boring to show up, even to this class, to other classes. Keep doing it. And of course, empower lives. Thank you guys. So we're probably out of time, but do you want to do Q&A? Okay. Quick Q&A. I talk too much. That's usually not what happens with me, so. Yeah.
You say you're all online, so what's your most popular or your most effective way of spreading your business or marketing your business, per se?
Facebook marketing. Yep, that's also a skill. Highly recommend learning Facebook marketing. But also just your organic reach too. So Facebook groups, and then also growing, your Instagram following. Those can also help. Just get your name out there. Other questions? Yeah?
How did you learn how to sell?
Practice, get in the reps. It's a lot like fitness, right? You have to get in the reps in order to get stronger. You got to just practice, trial and error, getting a lot of reps in, talking to a lot of people, and just kind of fine tune that process. Sounds boring, right? It is. Any other questions? Yeah?
How did you make that deal with Vivint to get the theater?
I don't know, honestly, the details of it. Some of it I feel I am religious as a divine intervention because I don't really know how it happened. But ultimately, he had some friends, connections to Vivint, was able to talk to some people in the business that were able to help. Yeah.
Build your network and have skills.
Built your network, definitely. Something I'm not as good at. Luckily, I have that guy. Any other questions? Yeah.
Are you nervous about closing the gym in a few weeks, or like about that next step?
I'm not. I am so excited. So when I told you I went into that depressive state, that's when I pretty much checked out of the gym. I'm sure some of our gym members can tell you that. But at that point, over the past year, I've been trying to tell Will, it's time to close, time to close. Now we're in a financial spot where it makes sense. We're at peace with it. It's obviously bittersweet because it's our passion and it's been our life for the past 4 years, but ultimately, we know it's the right thing to do. Yeah?
How do you do like accountability coaching online?
Weekly calls, so Zoom. COVID totally helped with this, by the way, because nobody knew what Zoom was until COVID. Now everyone knows. It's great. Zoom calls, messaging. We have an app now, so we can message our clients back and forth, setting habits with them, goals with them. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a bigger plan after you get it all remotely with PAC? Like, is there somewhere bigger you want to go once you have it all remote, or what's your plans there? Or you don't know?
These are our plans. Yep. We're going to keep doing what's working, keep doing the boring stuff because it works and it's awesome, and we're just going to continue growing it. Yeah. Good question. Anything else?
Can you really briefly explain to us how your business works? So they get in contact with you, they have goals, I imagine. What else do you do with your clients?
Yeah, exactly. I get on a call with every single person who joins. It's not just like you go to our website and you can buy a package. I talk to everyone because it's high ticket. It costs more than most fitness programs. So I talk to them, we do a sales call, and then depending on what they choose, they're in the program, but they will get access to our app, and they get a coach, and they get a fitness plan. So they get daily workouts, they'll get a nutrition plan, and then they get a coach holding them accountable. And then the length of that just depends on their goals. So somebody that only has 10 pounds to lose versus 50 will be set on different goals. So we basically sell them to their goal. Does that make sense? Other questions? Yeah?
How is your business different from Beachbody?
That's a good question. I get that one a lot, actually. It's more personalized and it's more one-on-one. So like every day, every week, you're getting feedback for you specifically. So it's not just like, here's your workout plan, here's a meal plan, go follow it for 6 months. It's like, this is gonna build habits over time. So it's like, first, work out 3 days a week. Now work out 3 days a week and eat vegetables. Now work out 3 days a week, eat vegetables, and drink a certain amount of water. And then, we have all this data and feedback about what your body and how it's handling it, and we can change it in real time. That's the biggest difference. Other questions?
I think we'll have to maybe wait until after for the additional questions.
No problem.
I just want to make a couple observations before we dismiss. Well, first of all, thank you for facing your fears and showing up here. I wonder by a show of hands if you were touched by this message today, which I think we all were. In part for you facing your fears, but also for being so vulnerable and opening up your own life to us. And beyond that, talking about your marriage and opening up your marriage for all of us. And one of your values is empower others, and it's clear that you two empower each other. That's a really awesome thing. And the last thing is that is the largest vat of water we've ever had in this. And in recognition of those, we want to present you with the Cedar Award and hope that you'll come back with us soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.